Okay, today I'm going to talk about, as part of a residency project, I'm going to give a lot of background information as well on hepatitis B vaccination. Okay, so my objectives today, I'm going to review the hepatitis B markers, and the three that we really look at are hepatitis B surface antigen, the surface antibody, and the core antibody. And then I'll review the vaccine schedule for now. And finally, we'll discuss the hepatitis B study at two major teaching hospitals, Vancouver General and St. Paul. And we'll look at response rate to vaccination and factors associated with poor response. So we know that hemodialysis patients are at increased risk of hepatitis B infection. They have potential exposure due to improper disinfection of fomites, and a fomite is kind of an inanimate object that can carry the virus. So, for example, there's splashes on the clothes, the chair, the machine, the table, and when there's been outbreaks in other countries, like definitely had a big outbreak in North America recently, but they've looked at that as fomites not cleaning properly the splashes in and out of the box and causing disease. But we know our patients always have frequent diagnostic and therapeutic procedures. We consider them immunocompromised, and they have reduced vaccination response to social use. And so every patient in every dialysis unit, North America really, they have baseline blood work drawn for hepatitis B to see if they require vaccination. So this is a schedule comparing normal to hemodialysis. So in a normal adult, for recombinant HB, which is the prime one that we're using now in BC, it all comes from the BC, so lately it's always been recombinant. It's a 3-dose regimen. So in a normal adult, it's a 10 microgram dose at 0, 1, and 6 months. And you can see hemodialysis is 4 times the dose, 40 micrograms at 0, 1, and 6. And then in hemodialysis, you can make it a second course if the antibody levels are still less than 10 after the 3-course initial series. And then if you do respond, then you can get a booster after series 2 if the antibody levels fall. And we find in our patients they always tend to fall. They don't necessarily fall to less than 10, but that's why we still always have to check them every year because they fall. Whereas in a regular system, and you can see the response rate at the bottom is 55 to 88% in dialysis. Whereas a normal adult will get their 3 shots, that's it, they won't rarely do follow-up. And it usually persists for life. I know a couple pharmacists that told me, I had my check and they were going, they got a booster, but I think that's really rare. So it's just for some reason in dialysis population. So just looking at the 3 markers of hepatitis, the first is, so hepatitis B surface antigen is in the red. And so that rises first after about a month to a month after exposure to the virus. And then it usually falls at 6 months, so it should become undetectable. Then you have the anti-HBs, which is the antibody to the surface antigen. And that usually rises about 6.5 months later. So it rises after the surface antigen levels fall. So you can see there's a little bit of a gap, like 5.5 to 6.5 months. So then there's this other one that we follow called the core, which is the anti-HB core. And it will rise around the same time that the surface antigen rises, and it usually stays high. Like it's a different antibody, like the IgM one will go down and then the IgG one will rise. So if you've had disease, your antibody core usually stays up. So usually once you've had disease, your core stays up and your antibody levels are up also. So just to recap, so the surface antigen is a protein on the surface of the virus. So that's what's called the surface antigen. And as I said, it appears usually about a month after acute exposure, and it's undetectable after 4 to 6 months. And then if it's positive, it indicates you actually have active infection. But there's a rare group that it never goes down. It's called chronic low-grade infection. If you're anti-HBs or the surface antibody, as I mentioned, it comes up after about 6.5 months after acute exposure. And a positive test would indicate you're either recovering from disease or give them a vaccination course and you're responding. And then there's this antibody, hepatitis B core antibody, And it appears, within 1 to 2 months after you get acute exposure, and then it usually persists for life. So if you get a positive test, it can indicate kind of previous infection. It can indicate you have ongoing infection, or it could be one of those patients where again it's this chronic low-level infection, or it could be a false positive. So who are the ones that we vaccinate? So anyone who is antigen positive, irrespective of any other value, we don't vaccinate them. In our unit, we kind of isolate them into corners. And because their machines are specifically clean, so only hepatitis patients get the same machine. And it could be that they're kidney infected, which usually it's not, usually it's chronic low-level infection. If the anti-HBs is greater than 10, so again, irrespective of any other value, so for example, they've had the vaccine or they've had the disease, we don't vaccinate. So if number 3, if the antibody is less than 10 and everything else is negative, then for sure we would vaccinate. And this is number 4 is the weirdest scenario where you have a low antibody level, you don't have the surface antigen, but your core is elevated. So the core could be elevated because it could be that window period. So usually what we'll do is we'll check that DNA, the HPV DNA information, they're not actively infected, and then we'll repeat it in a month. And if it's still positive and still comes back the same, then we still say the patients are susceptible to get hepatitis, so we will vaccinate those patients. So all the ones that we've had like that, we do end up vaccinating for that reason. So this is schematic of what happens. So the patients will get their series 1, which is the 3 vaccinations. So if we go to the left, if they respond to series 1, they're considered a responder. And then we just check their antibodies every year because, as I said, they eventually can fall. So if they eventually fall less than 10, then they will start series 2. Or if they failed series 1, then they will start series 2. So series 2, you either respond or you don't respond. So if they respond, so within the left, they consider a responder. They will keep following their antibodies, and eventually they go down. And if they become less than 10, then since they've already had their series 1 and series 2, they just get a booster. And then the booster, if they respond, then they're, keep going in a circle there. If you get as many boosters. If after the booster it's less than 10, or after series 2 it's less than 10, they're considered non-responder. They get no more vaccines finished. They're considered non-responders. And then we're supposed to just check surface antigen every year, although we kind of do, in our year, we see the whole series once a year. So despite these more intense vaccination regimens and the dialysis patients in the 2 series, vaccination responses are still low. And we don't know if there's patient-specific factors that maybe can affect response, like ethnicity, age, comorbidity, things that we've shown in other trials. So that was the objective of our trial. One is to capture the response rate to hepatitis B vaccination in the dialysis patients following vaccination series 1, 2, and booster, and examine factors associated with responders versus non-responders to the vaccine. And here, for primary outcome, we just looked at series 2 of the booster because you're not really considered a non-responder unless you've received 2 series of vaccine. And our secondary objective was to evaluate vaccine uptake and how many patients consented. Examine factors associated with all responders versus non-responders, looking at all 3 levels of vaccine, so series 1, 2, and booster, and to determine adherence of the protocol. So with adherence, once they get the first vaccine, the second vaccine is supposed to be 1 month later, so we allowed a 2-week interval for adherence. Once they get vaccine, they're supposed to get vaccine 2. They're supposed to get vaccine 3 to 5 months later, so we allowed 2 months on either side of that as the adherence. And then after they finish vaccine 3, they're supposed to draw an anti-HBs level at 1 month later to see if you have to start the second series. And we allowed again 2 months, 1 to 2 months interval, if they're adherent or not, or after the booster. So with the retrospective chart review, again looking at, as you just mentioned, the Promise database. On BC, we have a database that has all information regarding patients, including medication and all hepatitis vaccines and values, all entered into the system. So we looked at all hemodialysis patients since implementation of our new hepatitis B provincial protocol. And I encourage So about a year and a half ago, right? And we excluded patients that obviously did require vaccine. That's our baseline. So if patients already have a hepatitis positive, their antibodies were already elevated, vaccine. There were no non-responders prior to when we did our baseline study, or we knew they would use vaccination. So for data analysis, we did a univariate, we had a statistician, we did a univariate and a multivariate analysis to find out factors associated with response rate. So at the baseline, there were 411 patients, 224 at St. Paul's and 187 at BGH. And you can see we excluded 251 because we didn't require vaccines. So of those 160 patients, we included 18, because for some reason no doses were given. So we ended up with 142 patients. And series 1, we had 83 courses, series 2, there were 60 courses, including 24 courses that were given from series 1, and 22 boosters, including one from series 1, who had initially responded, kind of went down and they required a booster. So looking at the results, so baseline demographics, basically our age is similar to what we found, like we were seeing about 7 years old. In our unit, Caucasian and East Asian were no similar. In BGH, which is our downtown core, all the patients that come from Richmond, which is south of the airport, which is actually primarily Chinese population, they would all come to the downtown core for dialysis initially, because there are no hospitals south of the airport that do dialysis. So I think that's why we have, it's not like East Asians have a high rate of dialysis. So anyways, it's about equal, and then Southeast Asians are about 15%, Filipino 8%, had indigenous about 2%, and the rest of the matched. And let's try to look at comorbidities that maybe can affect immune dysfunction, that maybe affect response to vaccines. So diabetes, which is obviously the most common cause of being on dialysis, cancer, immunosuppressive therapy, previous transplant, or hepatitis C virus, URR, which is urea reduction ratio, they were all well dialyzed. How many were core positive? We had 22% of the core positive. And then looking at our response rate, to our series 1, which was 83, we had a 61% response rate. Series 2, 58% response rate, which means all 58 patients are considered now non-responders. And booster, 81%. So the majority of our patients are really non-responders. So the ones they respond to series 2, they tend to respond to the booster. So looking at the univariate analysis first, we tried to see what were the differences between responders and non-responders. So there was no difference really in hospital disease, 0.096, age, gender, dialysis vintage, ethnicity, comorbidity. So the only one that we found big differences was adherence to protocol, which was 0.035, and these are the three variables that we included in our multivariate analysis. Usually we look for factors that are less than 0.1, and with our patient numbers, we can include about 3 factors to make it adequate multivariate analysis. So we decided to do hospital, that's less than 0.1 in adherence, and we included age because other studies have shown that age was a significant factor. So looking at the multivariate analysis, which, as I said, our primary outcome is only series 2 and booster responses, and our estimated odds to response 2.41 with P of 0.08 was a trend. But when we looked at our secondary outcome, 140 to a larger group of patients, we did remove the overlapping patients, as I mentioned, the 24 non-responders from series 1 who received series 2, and the 1 responder from series 2 who received booster. And it was significant, quite significant. So 2.2 times, patients who were here had a 2.2 times chance of having a positive outcome versus not. So then we thought we'd look at what was the issue with adherence. And I kind of highlighted the really poor adherence one, but you can see really at the beginning the nurses kind of do okay, and then vaccine 3 is 5 months later, they kind of forget to give it. You have to and also vaccine 3 to blood work, they forget to follow it up. They either draw it and don't follow up, or they don't blood. And it's same with series 2, it kind of falls off shot, they just never looked at it again. So again, while we were collecting the data, we had to, we better get these, what's the response. So basically, we found that vaccine response to hemodialysis patients was similar to the literature, which is poor. Adherence was a really important factor in determining response. And these are some things that we talked to the physicians in the unit, some of the nurses, and these are some things that we decided, things that we need to correct. More frequent assessment of nursing by nurses on hepatitis status. Currently, we draw our blood work once a year, like in June, and they probably do it in December, but the nurses only do the evaluation once a year. Then you have all your courses that are going on throughout the year, so we're going to change it to twice a year, June and December. As well, we're going to do more frequent double checks by when we do our rounding, on blood work rounding. At St. Paul's, the pharmacist actually does regularly monitor hepatitis blood work, which is quite why they're a little bit more compliant. And they've entered all the hepatitis patients who are still active on hepatitis vaccines. They enter into the province med list. So I've started to do that. I'm going to enter all the patients who require hepatitis vaccination into the province med list. So when we do our blood work review, we kind of just double check that it's all being monitored. Improve documentation on when to draw these levels and make sure they follow up. Because the problem is when you draw it on day one, these have to come back 4 or 5 days later, so they got to keep reminding them on the run sheet for the next nurse to check it. And we do this annual nursing and services, but we're going to really stress the importance of adherence. So just looking a little bit in the literature, this is the most recent study I could find that looked at this issue. These were dialysis patients that received Enterix. This is a 4-dose regimen. And this study looked at responders, and they had 59% response rate, so they similar to what we had. And they actually interestingly divided the group into poor responders and good responders. So a good responder was anyone who had levels greater than 100, and antibody levels greater than 100. And a poor responder was antibody levels of 10 to 100. So you can see at the bottom there's a trend to reduction in antibody titers at 1 year, like they all fell. But the poor responders fell the most, and that's 65% of poor responders. And they followed these patients for 1 year, actually had levels less than 10, so I had to go on to either a second course or a booster. Whereas 0% of the good responders actually fell to less than 10. And then in this trial, they actually found some factors. They only did a univariate analysis, but they found factors that influence response with diabetes and hypertension. We did look at hypertension. We don't know how that would affect response, but they did. Other studies found that age, the concomitant hepatitis C virus or HIV. In our study, we only had 1 case of diabetes and low dialysis. So the limitations, obviously, so it is a small number, 142 patients. Limited number of subgroups, so it's hard to tell whether really definitely make a difference from other comorbidities or hepatitis C status, very high. It was a retrospective design, so it's a possibility that not all doses were documented in the chart, or if they weren't in promise, we tried to go back to the chart, but not necessarily were properly documented. It was difficult to differentiate between a past versus a present condition that could affect response, like if they had cancer. And also, if the missed or late dose was due to a few hospital admissions, that would be a legitimate excuse why the dose was given late because the patient wasn't around. So in conclusion, I reviewed hepatitis C markers. So basically, if your surface antigen is negative, if your core is positive or negative, but your antibody is low, then you will get vaccinated. I reviewed the schedule. So there's a series 1, series 2, plus a booster, which is unique for dialysis. And I've discussed our response rates, which are 60 to 58%. Although the booster, which I was surprised about, the booster, they do tend to respond to the booster. So once they've already had response, they do tend to respond again. And factors associated with poor response is not on here as the regimen. And it's interesting because our statistician was a little bit upset with that. He only found one thing that worked. And I said, but of all the things that you could have found, it's the only one we could have found. If you can't change their age or their ethnicity or status, but you can affect adherence. So that's one thing that we can actually work on. So we were actually quite pleased with that stuff.